Hey guys, so it's been way too long. It's weird even like coming on here and like talking to a camera again because it's been, I want to say, over 6 months since I've done a video, which is crazy. A lot has been going on within those 6 months. After I did that video, I want to say I did that in, I don't even know, like November. Hold on. I feel like you can hear the cars in the background. So anyways, those 6 months have been absolutely crazy. At the end of, you know what, I think it was actually September, maybe even August when I posted that video, so a long time. But since then, my grandma also passed away. I don't know if you guys saw that my grandpa passed away last year in February. That was a really hard time for me and my family, and then for my grandma to pass away so suddenly right afterwards, it was really tough. I'm trying not to cry in this video like the whole time, you know, but that was really tough. Me and my grandma were really close, and I ended up seeing her on Thanksgiving was the last time I saw her, and I was gonna see her, I planned on seeing her the Saturday afterwards, and the Saturday like after Thanksgiving, not right after Thanksgiving, but the Saturday the following week, and she ended up passing away on, I think, that Wednesday. I honestly don't even remember. It was all a blur, but I had just seen her, and she passed away suddenly, and it was really hard. So after that, you know, Christmas was definitely different. Like, we used to go and visit my grandma and grandpa in the home that they were staying at, and obviously they weren't there anymore, so, and I think it was really hard because I felt as though I hadn't even come to terms with my grandpa being gone, and then for my grandma to pass away so suddenly afterwards, it honestly broke my heart. And my mom was such a mess, and she is still, you know, it's still hard on her. So we had Christmas, and then a couple months later, in January, I got a job, and I was working as an assistant preschool teacher, and I actually really liked it. I noticed that it didn't give me a ton of free time, like I would just have my weekends, but I really liked being there and hanging out with the kids, and I really enjoyed the job, to be honest with you. And so I was there from January till just this past April. In between that, my mom was laid off from her job, so overall things just in my family were really tough, financially. And then come April, I got a text from my boss, and she texted me and she said, I'm gonna need you to come in a little earlier today. You know, I need you to have a meeting with us. And I was like, oh my God, is everything okay? Like, is something wrong? She was like, we'll talk when you get here. So I already knew something was wrong. And before work, a few weeks before, I think it happened at least twice before, anytime I did something that they didn't agree with, they cut my hours. And it wasn't something like big, really. Like, it would be that I wasn't cleaning the bathroom correctly. And mind you, no one actually sat down to show me how to do these things. We had a 3-day training, and I'm not going to say the company's name because I don't want to get into any legal trouble or anything like that. But I went away for 3 days to train for this job, and I come back and they just throw you in a classroom, and they don't have you like shadow anyone or do anything like that. They just expect you to know. And personally, I've never had any childcare experience, and they knew that going in, you know, when I was going in, that I didn't have any childcare experience and that I was completely new at this. And I went in expecting them to kind of take me under their wing, show me the ropes, be trained to do these things and handle certain situations, and I just went in completely blindsided, and no one like showed me how to do things or you know, we weren't allowed to discipline the kids. We had like a cozy corner kind of thing where they would like go and calm their bodies, but we weren't allowed to like actually discipline them. So I would, you know, anytime a kid would do something wrong, I would find myself kind of raising my voice, because that's just like, I don't know, I have like a naturally loud voice. And so the first thing was, oh my God, you can't be yelling at the kids. And I was like, I'm not yelling at the kids. I'm trying to be stern with them, because if I'm not, I am getting taken advantage of by these kids, you know? Like, they don't know who I am, and they think they can get away with certain things because they don't know me and how I, you know, and obviously I don't know what I'm doing, and clearly they like picked up on that. But I got in there, and honestly, I absolutely loved that job. I can't even tell you anything, like, besides the fact that I felt like I wasn't prepared going in. Overall, I loved the kids. I loved hanging out with the kids. I loved, you know, doing the whole nap time thing and like getting them to go to sleep and everything. Definitely certain pieces of the job I didn't like, as they required us to clean. We had to not only be teachers to these kids and teach them, you know, certain skills and exciting things that they will take later on in life with them down the road, but we had to be our own janitors. And that was something that, like, I wasn't expecting going into this. And the first thing was that they cut my hours because I didn't know the cleaning routine. Well, I wasn't trained on the cleaning routine. I wasn't shown the cleaning routine. To be honest with you, I had a vacuum my whole life. And this might sound like super privileged, but I didn't know how to sweep. And that's just, you know, I had a Swiffer in my house and I had a vacuum in my house and I never had to sweep the floor. And like, even something as little as that was an adjustment for me. I never knew like how to sweep. So I learned how to sweep. You know, there were certain things in the bathroom they wanted done. You know, they wanted the sinks completely wiped down. They wanted this done at lunch, after lunch, during nap time, and at the end of the day. So they would tell you you'd get out at 6 and you wouldn't leave until at least 6:30 or 7. And going into it, when I was told that I didn't know the cleaning routine, they cut my hours. Instead of having someone come in and show me how to clean and maybe even keep me there a little longer, they cut my hours because I was being punished because I didn't know how to clean, even though they didn't show me how to clean in the first place. And there were just certain things, like I had a parent come in and say, you know, what is this mark on my kid's face? And I was like, I haven't been with this kid all day. I have no idea what the mark is on his face. And she starts yelling at me about how, you know, I'm not watching the kids and, you know, just crazy, crazy shit, honestly. But anyways, fast forward to April. They call me in. They say they need to talk to me. I don't go in until 1 o'clock. My hours are usually 11 to 5:30 or 11 to 6. And they tell me they want me to come in around 12:30 so we can have a talk. And I walked in. And before that, I was having an insane amount of anxiety because it's like if anyone in your life is like, we need to talk, like you don't know what to expect and you're like expecting the worst. And to be honest with you, I was sitting there like, what have I done now? You know what I mean? Like, you guys haven't shown me how to clean. I've worked on that. You guys have told me that I've been yelling at the kids. I worked on that as well. But now, what am I being yelled at for? You know? And I go in. I didn't in the slightest even think for 1 second that something was really seriously wrong, to the point where I was going to be laid off. I didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't think I did. You know what I mean? Like, I sat there and thought to myself, like, what did you do, Rebecca? You know, like, what did you do to, like, upset these people now? And I couldn't think of anything. And I sat here and I was racking my brain and I was like, I have no idea what to expect going into this. So, the dreaded time comes where it's 1 o'clock. I get there. I show up in my work uniform. I go in. I have my, you know, my little fleece zip up thing that said the company's name. Almost said it. Can't. Definitely can't. And I walk in, and my boss says, the director, she goes, I'll be with you in a moment. And I'm sitting there. My hands are sweating. I'm like freaking out. And I'm trying to stay calm. And I walk in there and I sat down, and it was a meeting with both of my directors. And she looks at me and she says, so there's a few things that I want to address. And I'm like, okay. And she said, well, we've had several parent complaints. And I'm sitting here like, what could the parents possibly be complaining about? I'm so friendly to them. I'm so very like in their face as soon as they walk in to you know, address them and tell them that their kid had an awesome day and whatever, you know what I mean? And I just look at her and I go, okay. And she tells me that I was seen yelling at a kid for taking out the trains. And I said to her, I never did that. I legit straight up told her, I was like, I never did that and I would never do that. I did not yell at a kid. I have taken out the trains before and the kids would fight over them and I would end up putting them away. So at the end of the day, I don't take out the trains. And one of the other teachers told me that's perfectly fine, that I choose what I take out to put on the tables and put in on the rug area. So to be honest with you, I don't take them out. And she goes, that's perfectly fine. So then she goes on to tell me that there was another parent who was complaining because there were 4 kids in the classroom being a little crazy and I was in the bathroom with 2 kids changing them. Now, I don't know how it works in other states, but in the state of Connecticut, the ratio for preschoolers to teacher is 1 to 10. So that means I technically could have 10 kids with me by myself, and that's perfectly fine. So that's a state regulation. And I am getting an issue from a parent because I am in the bathroom with 2 other kids, changing them after they had an accident, and she has an issue with how the kids are behaving after I repeatedly went in there and said, hey, look, you guys need to calm down. You guys need to sit on the line and wait for me until we can go back outside. And my director literally said to me that that was unacceptable and there wasn't enough supervision. And I looked at her and I was like, what would you like me to do otherwise? Because I was the only teacher in there. You guys are short-staffed, so you can't bring other teachers in here. And as a state regulation, I'm perfectly allowed to have that many kids with me. It was like 6. And I just don't know what you would like me to do when I am in a situation like that, trying to change 2 kids who had accidents. Would you like me to keep them in their wet clothes while I deal with these 4 other kids that aren't listening to me? There's only so much you can do in that situation. So that was another thing. And then the third parent complaint that she had was that I was seen huffing and puffing. I was seen huffing and puffing on the playground after a kid got hurt. And I was huffing and puffing because we all had to go back inside to deal with the kid who got hurt. Now, let me tell you, that is the most ridiculous accusation I've ever heard in my entire life. I would never in my life even think about making a big deal about going back inside because another kid was hurt. Kids get hurt. They get hurt on the playground. That's how it is. You know? And I would never think that's an inconvenience to me, or act like that's an inconvenience to me. So I don't know what a parent saw or what their perception was, but it almost seems like maybe they saw me running with the kid to go inside and corral the rest of the group to go back inside. And if I had been running, which if the kid is actually hurt, I really don't remember this one incident, specifically this one incident, because there were so many kids that got hurt on the playground. But if the kid is actually hurt, I'm never going to huff and puff and make a big deal about it, because it happens. You know what I mean? And that's not an inconvenience to me. It's my job to go in and address the situation and bring the kid in and clean up the cut or whatever the situation might be. But the only thing I can think of is that a parent saw me maybe running and I was out of breath, huffing and puffing, because I'm not in shape. I am so far from being in shape, and I am very excited to like go back to the gym and like start taking care of myself again, because I just feel horrible the way I just feel horrible not being able to run a short distance and not be out of breath and huffing and puffing. So honestly, I really do think that was the case. I would never like ever make it seem like an inconvenience to me when a kid got hurt. And then she had one more accusation. I don't even want to say it because it's absolutely absurd, but I'm going to tell you anyways. And that was that I was heard saying obscenities to another parent. Now, I'm sure you guys all know what that means, but obscenities are, in my mind, like swearing. And as I said before, I was so friendly and like outgoing and right in front of, I was always like in the parents' face when they walked in to be like, your kid had a great day, like blah, 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 like he or she did such a good job today on doing X, Y, and Z. So it is absurd to me to even accuse me of that at all. So after she told me all of these crazy parent complaints, she looked at me and she said, I just don't think you're the right fit for us. And at that moment, the person that I am, my heart broke, because I got, in that short amount of time, so attached to these kids. And when she said that, I knew it was done. I knew she was letting me go. Four of the most ridiculous parent complaints I've ever heard. And as a director, she said she had our backs as employees and that she would go up to bat for us. And she didn't even give me, number one, an inkling that she was going to let me go. I was completely blindsided. Completely blindsided. Didn't have warnings. She was just gathering up these parent complaints to bring to me so she could let me go right before my 3 months. So they didn't have to pay me benefits and all of that, and that I was just too much effort for them to put into someone who didn't have the experience like everyone else. They didn't want to go out of their way to teach me new things. And it became very clear to me that I just wasn't ever going to fit into that company. And unfortunately, I'm still very, very sad about being laid off. Not because I miss my coworkers or anything like that, but I truly, truly miss the kids. And I will always miss them because I felt as though I made an impact on them in some sort of way. But anyways, as she told me that I was not the right fit, I just started crying. And she handed me the box of tissues. And I got up and I looked at her and I said, okay, well, while I'm crying hysterically, if that's how you feel, I think I should just go home now. And she had a bunch of documents for me to sit there and sign, and I wasn't going to do that, give her the time of day for that. And I walked out of her office. I said, thank you for the opportunity. And I walked out of her office and I was hysterically crying, and I ran past 2 of my coworkers. They didn't say anything to me, and I walked out of the building. And I got in the car and I got home and I cried the whole day. And I'm still sad about it, you know? I still miss that job. Because even though there were things that I didn't like about it and that I didn't agree with, I had fun hanging out with the kids. And I'm always going to cherish those moments. So, that happened. And to top it all off, because life just wants to keep trying me, my best friend of 10 years told me that she doesn't agree with my lifestyle as a Jehovah's Witness and doesn't want to be friends with me anymore. And she's going back to her Jehovan roots or whatever she had said. The girl I was friends with for 10 years, all through high school, we had been through so much together, and she just ended a whole friendship like that. So, yeah, you know, she stopped being friends with me after 10 years of friendship that I have been a loyal friend to her. And honestly, it really hurt me, you know? And I wish I didn't feel that way, but it absolutely did. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I think I'm going to make a full video on it, maybe like a story time, and talk to you guys about it and kind of, you know, really dive in. But yeah, over the past, what did I say, like 8 months or so, life has really not been so great. It's really been a struggle. And I was okay for a bit, but things aren't great right now, and I'm trying to push through, and I'm trying to stay positive and be the happy-go-lucky person that everyone knows me to be. But to be honest with you, I don't really know how to be that right now. And I guess I just wanted to come on here and talk about this stuff because life doesn't always go your way, and life's not always gonna be happy and positive. Like, there's shitty times too, and I want my subscribers and people who are going through something to know that you're not alone. And even though it feels like you are sometimes, that there are people going through things that you're going through too, and that it's not always gonna be easy, and sometimes you're really gonna have to push yourself to even do the little things like get up in the morning. But I know in my heart that things will be okay, and that things will start looking up soon, and I can only hope for the best. So I guess that's what I'm gonna leave you with, is that I'm struggling right now, but I'm gonna be okay. I'm very strong, and I know I can get through it. And I know you, whatever you're going through too, you can get through it too. So thank you so much for watching my little rays of sunshine. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I am going to be posting a lot more beauty videos, but also some story times as well, because I want to share what I've been through in my life. And I think it will just be therapeutic for me to talk about these things rather than keep them up inside of here. And hopefully these things will help people, and I want to help people and make an impact. So I hope you guys will stick around, and I love you all, and I will see you all in my next video.